السلام عليكم يا شباب ويا بنات، كيف حالكم؟ إن شاء الله طيبين. اليوم إن شاء الله بكمل لعبة هاند اوف جلوري. بسم الله تختيم. اوكي، آخر مرة هنا طبعا كالعادة بداية كل يوم لازم يقرأ الجرايد.
The paper opened with news about a little tourist plane that had apparently escaped from the Bermuda Triangle unharmed. Normally, the Harbinger didn't deal with such cases, but in this particular situation, there were clues and disturbing details that attracted the attention of the media. From the article, it appeared that the investigator in charge was none other than the infamous Noah Adote Adwele, the man responsible for the so-called weird cases of the HPD. I had very little to do with him, but he always seemed very antisocial to me. Ramos was still on the run, but the experts believe it impossible that he could have left the country due to the extremely tight security checks. I hope they weren't making the same mistake as me, underestimating that guy. Ramos was still on the run. I hope they weren't making... The paper opened with news about a little tourist plane that had apparently escaped from the... Normally, the Harbinger didn't deal with such cases. From the article, it appeared that the investigator had very little... The paper opened with news... Normally, the Harbinger did... From the article, and very little...
خلنا نشوف ايش المطلوب وما في شيء.
I didn't want anything from the trolley. In addition to investigating the picture, I had some other leads to follow. First of all, Lupe had told me Melsberg would return during the day, and I absolutely had to question him. In addition, I wanted to better inspect the alley where I'd been challenged by that madman. I had to check if someone saw or heard something useful that night.
Question picture of Catherine, but have Alice make a copy of it. Okay, يعني نكلم أليس.
I didn't need to call Alice right at that moment.
أو أروح لها. بروح يسأل هذاك الشخص راعي القصر، بس يقول في البداية بياخذ كوبي من أليس.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
Look at this picture, Alice.
That's the recently kidnapped girl, isn't it? The one you were investigating.
Precisely. Do you recognize the guy accompanying young Catherine?
I recognize the girl only because her picture is everywhere. I don't recall ever seeing him at all.
Have you got any way to find additional information?
I have many resources, my dear investigator. I'll make a copy of the picture, and I'll let you know, but I'll need some time.
Good girl. Dig up all the dirt you can.
Immediately, oh umpteenth wannabe alpha male. I'll let you know.
Another thing, while we're here. If I say the Italian word balsamo, or balm, does it remind you of anything?
Do you think this is the right time to play to word association games?
I can assure you that this balm is vital to the Melsberg investigation. Saying it out loud, I know it sounds a bit stupid, but you can't even imagine how much sweat it took me to get it.
I'll do a search. Maybe the word has a certain secondary meaning that we're missing.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
I can't stop staring at your lock.
All right, then. Come on, lay out your hypothesis. Let's see your famous intuition at work.
Judging by your behavior, I'd say that in your adolescence, you were a shy and introverted girl. You spent your days wondering how it would be, for once, to find the courage to strike up a conversation with anyone. Courage, however, that you never found, causing you to grow that rebellious lock, hoping it might earn you a shred of attention. That was your way of declaring to the whole world you weren't the loser they thought.
I don't mean to brag, but at school, I was one of the most popular girls. I did well in almost all my subjects, but not enough to be classified a bookworm. You let me down. Maybe you're not the great detective that I thought.
I'm just warming up. We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
طيب هي تقول بتاخذ وقت، فما ادري اروح لها الليلي اول. لا خربطت في الاتجاه. ما أتوقع فيه شيء، أو كأن هذا شيء جديد. أتوقع ده ما كان موجود.
No trace of the events I would always remember as the night of the challenge. No trace of the...
Oh, فتح.
And who would you be, Grasshopper?
Who am I? I am...
Forget it, I don't care. You're hired as sous chef.
Sous chef?
Not that there was a queue for the job. We hung the sign outside the door 2 months ago, and you were the first and only one who showed up.
You'll be shocked to discover that there's no sign hanging on the door.
Damn Roger. He must have stolen it to use it as a dish. Such ingratitude.
Anyway, there must be some misunderstanding. I'm just here in the capacity of,
Are you here to work as a dishwasher? Very well, you can start right now.
It'd be an honor to work as a sous chef for a professional in the business. In fact, I've always dreamed of a career like this.
Great. I'm Chef Tony, and from now on, your life is mine.
Can I call you Antoine?
No. For now, there's not much to do, so just observe me and try to learn something. I'll find you something to do for tonight.
May I at least ask you some questions?
Do what you like, but try not to pester me.
Chef, did you notice anything weird in the alley out there the past few nights?
Weird? Weird, you say? Now that I think about it, yes.
Does it concern a mannequin with a bloody smile drawn on its face by any chance?
No, of course not. What kind of sexual fantasies do you have in that Yankee head? I just noticed that the night before last, old Roger didn't show up to beg for food like he usually does every blessed weekend.
Is he homeless?
By now, I consider him more like a regular. He comes here because he knows that on Saturday night, the leftovers are more nutritious and elaborate than any other day.
Where could I find this Roger?
Roger is a vagrant. He usually changes places, so it's hard to say. But if I was really in a hurry to find him, I'd take a walk around Nancy's.
That pub-like place on the promenade, right?
That one exactly, Pipsqueak. Now go slice 5 pounds of fresh tomatoes, then mix them and put them on the stove with a drop of oil and a pinch of mustard.
Of course. Maybe in a minute. I'll go back to washing dishes, with your permission.
This mayonnaise keeps curdling.
Above the shelf, I could see a grater, an empty bottle turned on its side, and some heaps of garlic. Establishing how long the stew had been in the pot would have required carbon dating. A cooking station, as filthy and messy as the rest of the room. It contained a variety of offal, hopefully pork, liver, heart, intestines, and something else. It was a sight many would relive in their nightmares. A cookbook that seemed to date back to the Babylonian civilization. I'll go back to...
This mayonnaise...
I preferred not to find out what other... I never liked staining walls. 2 spray cans. It seemed like a vending machine for chewing gum, but actually it contained soft marshmallows. It seemed like a vending machine. That bad guy's face.
شوف كان هذا مكان جديد. أتوقع هذا المكان اللي قال له ممكن
Here's
تلقى فيه
Nancy's,
homeless.
but still no trace of Roger the homeless guy. Hey, are you the homeless Roger?
Dude, do I look like a homeless guy?
I don't know. Maybe you're undercover.
I'm Mike, and you're a detective, I gather.
How do you know that?
You're wearing a coat in Miami's promenade.
Huh, touche. So, do you know Roger the homeless guy or not?
Knowing him is a stretch, but I caught a glimpse of him sometimes. He sits right on this bench and stays there enjoying the sun. I didn't see him today, though.
I guess I'll have to stop by later then. So, what brings you to the promenade? Yoga?
Just stretching. I warm up for my daily training, as I do every day.
Are you an athlete?
Not by profession, but I like to keep in shape. Plus, this year, I'd like to take part in the famous triathlon held here in Miami.
Oh, yes, the triathlon. Well, last year I went to watch it, but I had to leave halfway through the race. My scarf ended up in the spokes of a participant's bike, causing a series of spectacular falls.
You aren't going to assist with this year's competition, too, are you?
No, they put up posters with my face on them to keep me out.
Good.
Have you heard about the Mosberg Scion's kidnapping?
No, I don't live in Miami, and honestly, I don't follow the local news.
See you, Mike.
See you soon, mate.
I didn't know what kind of plant it was, so I didn't care about it. The palm was marked with a red symbol on its trunk. I wonder what it meant. I had nothing else to ask. Typical seaside place, where exotic cocktails and Tex-Mex plates were served regularly.
طيب يمكن هذه خلصت الصورة الحين.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
في أشياء جديدة.
The weird cases, aka the department that dealt with investigations into mysterious events. The real mystery was why Burton kept on investing funds in such nonsense. Any time I stood in front of it, I would feel a chill run through me. I've had enough of it.
Oh, وصل.
Who are you? And why have you entered my house without even knocking?
Oh, I'm sorry, Lupe gave me free access. I'm Detective Bundy of the HPD. I'm helping with your daughter's kidnapping case.
The HPD, you said? Am I wrong? Or are we talking about that new support police department formed in the last few years?
You're not wrong, and as you probably know, we average almost a 70% rate of closed cases. And of those, I can say without false modesty that almost 45% are closed by moi.
You're very self-confident, Mr. Did you say Bundy?
It didn't seem right to thump my chest and scream my name as usual, so I just nodded in silence.
So tell me, why is the HPD involved in a normal kidnapping case?
We both know this is not a normal kidnapping case. You are a big shot in this town. The police asked us to help. I hope you don't mind. And most of all, I hoped you wouldn't check. At that moment, I was balanced on a fragile tower of lies.
No, I don't mind at all. The more the forces that cooperate, the greater the chance that we have of finding my daughter as soon as possible. I'm at your complete disposal for anything you may need.
Perfect. And remember, please don't leave the country until the investigation is concluded. He shot me a look that immediately indicated, and without any doubt, that in that house, there was no room for humor. Molesberg had clearly conveyed that he didn't want me in his room. Mr. Molesberg?
Go ahead.
What can you tell me about your daughter?
And Catherine. I know it might sound strange given her social status, but she was a very simple girl. Everyone that knew her couldn't help but love her. But at the same time, nobody dared get too close. You know what it's like.
I understand perfectly. Anything else?
She loved music. You might think that's a family trait, but it's not. Catherine was the first and only one of us who ever touched an instrument. Personally, I know little or nothing about music.
I have to ask, do you think there is anyone who might want to hurt her?
I absolutely and categorically reject the idea. Catherine had no enemies.
I couldn't help but notice how Molesberg talked about his daughter in the past tense. It seemed a bit too soon for such resignation. About the sign painted on the facade. How do you think they did it? It's quite high.
I have thought about it nonstop for hours. And honestly, I can't explain it.
Tell me everything you saw or heard.
Last night, the silence was abruptly broken by a loud crash. Me and the gardener, who lives in the shed behind the mansion, ran outside and found that symbol. I immediately thought it was blood, but fortunately I was wrong. It's just paint. There's something I find rather odd. Namely, why bother painting that symbol?
By doing so, the culprit ensured the image would travel around the world and achieve the desired visibility, attracting my attention specifically.
You have a very refined cognitive process, Mr. Bundy. I can understand why you were assigned to the case.
I'd be interested to know what business you're in precisely.
Without boring you with the technical details, my company works in the field of shipyards.
Boats? Are they that profitable?
We're talking about a company that covers every sector, from little rafts for family entertainment to luxury yachts, which, believe me, very few people can afford, right up to the construction of entire oil platforms.
That must cost a fortune.
You can't even imagine. For such jobs, we only agree to participate in exchange for sharing the revenue that results from the actual extraction. At the end of the day, Mr. Bundy, it's always about oil.
Do you know if your daughter was involved in a romantic relationship during this period?
What the hell kind of a question is that? I refuse to talk about my daughter's private affairs.
Your daughter has been kidnapped, and every possible lead must be followed. So please, avoid making a scene, and be cooperative.
You're right. Sorry for my overreaction. But even if I wanted to, I wouldn't know what to say. No, I don't think Catherine was having a romantic relationship with anyone. She's still just a girl.
Maybe she is to you. Look at this photo.
انصدم.
Where did you find it?
I'll keep my sources confidential if you don't mind. Now, can you please explain to me why you look so upset?
That picture would be very inconvenient if leaked to the press, Mr. Bundy. My daughter's kidnapping would quickly devolve into rumors of a romantic getaway, and that's a scenario I can't risk happening.
I can assure you this photo will remain in my hands only. But now please answer the question.
I don't recognize that man. I trust you'll identify him and then report back to me, won't you?
I'll keep you updated, but bear these words firmly in mind. I don't work for you.
I understand perfectly. Now, if you don't mind, I have to steel myself and regain control of my business.
شك فيه.
His reaction seemed disproportionate to me, not attributable to simple fatherly jealousy. To hell with Molesberg's wishes. I'd tear apart his room.
Dios mío, qué susto. You scared me.
I didn't think there was anybody in the house. I hoped there was nobody in the house.
Even if the pain is fuerte, I couldn't leave the house in dirt, you understand? And then I couldn't leave El Señor Molesberg alone in such a moment. He is upset and feels that he can do nothing of use.
Commendable, but now you should really let me search the room.
I cannot let anybody enter in here, you remember?
I get it, but I might find something useful for my investigation.
Si fuera por mí, I'd let you search the whole house, but this job me necesita y no puedo risk to lose it.
I understand. Don't worry. Oh, but do worry, Senora Maid. I'll get in there, one way or another.
Bring Miss Catherine back to us, I beg you.
Just what I needed. The maid decided to be a hero right at the least appropriate moment for my investigation. I strongly felt I had to get in there, and I certainly wasn't going to be stopped by a stereotypical maid talking in Spanglish. Tell me something else about Catherine.
Lately she was having a time of isolation. Muy preocupante. Maybe because a piano competition went wrong. The kid really cared about it. She practiced for a long time.
How long did this isolation last?
Months and months, senor. It wasn't like her. Such a lively chica who never let nada get to her. Not even the spirits haunting the house could scare her.
The spirits haunting the house?
You'll think I'm loca, senor. Forget what I just tell you.
Don't worry, I'm used to crazy lunatics. Tell me more about these spirits.
The Mulsbergs are a muy ancient familia, and the spirits of their ancestors are still in here.
Do you have any material proof? Maybe some ectoplasm, a recorded tape with macabre children's voices, something like that.
I never saw any of these manifestations, but La Señorita Catherine did. One night, while she was in the upstairs hall, she hears some whispers. Then, suddenly, words from a threatening voice echo in the air, and a bloody heart almost hit her.
What kind of threatening words?
One of the ancestors' mottos. I read it many times while I dust on the upper floor. Madre de Dios, I'm so terrified this could happen to me too. I come from a very Catholic familia, and the bloody heart always scared me since I was a niña.
I liked Catherine more and more. Taking advantage of a bloody heart and a motto uttered from who knows where, she had designed an epic prank. Unconsciously, from the past, the kid had just sent me a clue to getting rid of the maid. I should replicate that scenario myself by acquiring a bloody heart. I also had to figure out the cursed words used by the girl to lend credibility to her story. The housekeeper told me she had read it while dusting on the upper floor. In addition, I needed a place where I would have full view of the housekeeper, but the main door wasn't an option. Maybe the window on the upper floor would suit me. There's absolutely nothing I can do to convince you to let me in, right?
Lo siento, señor, pero no puedo.
If I wanted to obtain access to that room, I'd have to scare that woman away. I needed a famous motto spoken by one of the Mosberg ancestors. I had to find a bloody heart to make the prank more believable, and I had already found a way to put the prank into practice. I climbed from the window into Catherine's room. Child's play, all things considered. What do you think of this photograph?
I never see that man before.
And yet Catherine seemed to be pretty much of her current age.
Maybe a secret novio, como se dice, a sweetheart?
I have every intention of finding out. There's absolutely nothing I can...
Lo siento,
If I wanted to obtain access to that, I needed a famous... I had to find it, and I had already found child's play. Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar, estoy aquí, señor Bundy.
اوكي نحاول نرعبها.
An old-style phone. One of those with the rotary dials. The cart contained many products for house cleaning. I didn't need that stool anymore.
طيب
The bathtub was monumental. Tiny and intricately detailed tiles surrounded the external. The window was directly above the tycoons, offering me a good opportunity to infiltrate it. I just had to come up with a method to lower myself down there. thought I could tie some clothes to the radiator, creating a handmade rope that might lower me from the window, and the tycoon's room was directly underneath. A risky plan indeed. On the other side, I had walked across a wooden board suspended in midair the previous day, and I like to be consistent. I just had to take some more clothes downstairs. Strange. The bed wasn't... The jewelry box contained exactly what... The jewelry box... I didn't want to move. There was nothing of interest. I scanned through the volumes displayed in the little... My God. I couldn't get off the ledge yet. I couldn't get off the ledge yet. I couldn't get off the ledge yet. I've always suffered. There were dolls everywhere in that room. Either kept or she was traumatized by it. It showed Catherine with that very, The meaning of that little note, along with the identity of the one who delivered it to me, remained a mystery. The meaning of that little note, along with the identity of the one who delivered it. It led me to where that crazy guy launched his challenge. It led me to where that crazy guy launched his challenge. I didn't understand how... Sometimes, I couldn't get off the ledge. My skin smells natural, so no need to wash it. The man had an impressive tuft, the gaze of someone who The guy had something familiar about him. I looked at the picture a second time, and I started to convince myself that I knew the guy. Count Manuel Cortez Mosberg. According to the plaque, he had started a branch of the family that settled in Spain in the but his line of succession had become extinct by the end of the 60s. Count Manuel Cortez, but his line of Archbishop Mosberg da Molina. Judging by, and there was more. It seemed that he even forged a motto about it. The love of the Lord must be experienced in every form to be truly grasped. This obsession of his, together with his size, caused him to die of heart failure at a not very advanced age. I recalled the story told by the maid. Was this Molina perhaps the inspiration for Catherine's prank? Well, the broken heart didn't match. I had just discovered the words the kid had used to scare the maid to death.
Bloody heart.
Archbishop Mosberg da Molina, and there was more. It seemed that his love for he even forged a motto about it. This obsession of his, together with his size. Count Manuel Cortez Mos, but his line of succession had become extinct by the end of this. When I was a kid, I always dreamed of where. Who am I kidding? I still dream of it. Well, it didn't seem like a replica. The mold.
Bloody heart. لا يكون التشيكن.
It seemed authentic. The Molsbergs even had a coat of arms. It seemed authentic.
هذا شكل هالتشيكن. أذبحها يمكن.
Hello, good man.
Yes?
What can you tell me about this photo?
Well, well, they look like two tender lovebirds.
Did you consider this could be the kidnapper's face?
Gosh, you're right. Did you show the picture to the authorities?
Of course I did. Experienced forensic scientists are working on tracking the subject at this very moment. Stick around. I could have stolen those keys just to kill time, but surely the need to do. The gardener had a key ring hanging from his belt. The sweet clinking metal hypnotized me with subliminal messages. A harsh-looking hen. Come here, sweetie. I was suddenly hungry for broth. I didn't want an egg in my coat. That egg was huge. I understood then. A harsh-looking hen. Come here, sweetie. I was suddenly. Buzzing, threatening, potentially lethal. Better stay. Only a huge quantity of trash remained now. Only a huge quantity. The dog bowl displayed the name Bridget, and yet a quick look was enough to make me realize the terrible oversight. It was clearly, at least they didn't force you to wear a polka dot skirt, my friend. Here, Bridget. Come here, sweetie. Something in the look of that dog told me it didn't. It was slimy dog food. Despite that, a primal instinct triggered inside me and made me drool. It was slimy dog food. Despite... It was impossible to open the lock with my bare hands.
بلادي ها أو ناخذه من المطبخ.
Did that bomb bottle really contain a secret? Well, at the very least. That month, I'd save on soap. Tin, empty, and filthy. Was it really worth it? A chicken house. In this case, there. I thought it was better to look for. Hey, Chef, you don't have a spare heart, do you?
They constantly ask for them. Those aristocratic pigs. You can find a bucket full of them near the entrance door.
To be honest, it's for personal use.
I knew immediately I'd hired a beginner, but I'd hope you had at least a little taste.
I am full of taste. I am.
You're a runt, that's what you are.
Stop interrupting my official presentation. I perfected it over years.
Listen, Ant. Fresh hearts are really expensive, and I surely won't waste one of them on a kitchen boy.
Okay, I get the message. What do I have to do to get that heart?
Now we're talking. I need some special number 5 meatballs, cooked with the recipe you can find on that counter over there. I'll need them in large quantities for tonight, so try to hurry.
The preparation seemed elementary, but the ingredients would be a problem. Florida ginger? I have no idea what that is.
It's a root, but I don't know its shape. Normally, my supplier delivers it already grated.
And the other ingredients? Don't we have any of them already?
You can find salt and pepper on your workstation. For the rest, you need to make do yourself. Ever since I threw that cleaver at him, my supplier has disappeared. Oh, and be careful with the exotic meat. It must have a fresh new taste, something never tried before. These aristocrats become more and more demanding.
Can I take that Parmesan from the shelf up there at least?
No, it's only the crust. I keep it there to lure out those damn rats that plague West Miami.
Tell me about it. I've also had my share of headaches with those little pests in my place. So I'd find salt and pepper right on the workstation. Considering the sophisticated nature of some of these ingredients, the Molesberg residence seemed like a promising place to start.
يبغى لنا نوجد أو نبحث عن المقادير. I have follow John's script. Although I've done. هذه الوصفة.
Fresh heart in exchange for some meatballs. What a friggin' deal.
خلنا نسأل هذا وبعدين الخادمة.
Hello, good man.
Yes?
Have you got any of these ingredients?
Incredible! This seems like the recipe for meatballs my mother used to make.
What nonsense. These are needed to create powder to help detect fingerprints at the crime scene.
Huh, a PDO egg. That's curious. Our Betsy is a purebred. A Sicilian hen, to be precise.
But that's exactly the quality I need. Can I take one egg?
I don't think it would be a problem, but I must warn you. That hen is a little surly.
And can you tell me anything about the Florida ginger?
I can't help you there, sorry.
Aren't you the gardener?
Confidentially speaking, I'm not exactly an expert botanist. Mr. Molesberg took it for granted after he saw my topiaries and hired me.
In short, you're totally useless. Stick around. I was suddenly hungry for broth.
طيب هذه كيف؟
The hatch didn't want to stay down. The spring was defective and tended to pop the hatch back up into its original position.
طيب يمكن نستخدم الخيط.
I doubted the hen would give me enough time to tie the hatch. I needed a more immediate solution.
اللوك.
I could use the lock that caused me a big problem earlier to solve another. Now, bite me if you can, you fiendish hen.
أخذنا البيضة.
One more egg for me, one less for you, Featherbrain. Yet I didn't feel like leaving the diabolical creature locked up. I've always been a fan of personal freedom.
طيب نروح نسأل لحظة.
Only a huge quantity of... Better stay away from... Buzzing, threatening, potentially... The cook demanded... I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands, though. The cook demanded exotic... If I asked you for some ingredients, could you help me?
Lo siento mucho. I don't deal with the kitchen myself. The vintage wine, though. Senor Malsberg has always some bottles, but he does not keep them in the mansion.
Do you know where he stores them?
Unfortunately, no. But you know who you should ask? The gardener.
The gardener has vintage wine?
Actually, he shouldn't. As a matter of fact, he will never confess to you. The point is that le gusta beber, so from time to time he nicks a bottle from El Señor and hides it in the shed at the back.
In the shed, you said? Oh, good to know.
Oh, but he'll never let you in. He keeps the keys on his belt and guards them as if they fueran part of his body.
Don't worry, I have no intention of wasting time asking. So the wine is in the shed out back?
Yes, senor, but as I said, the gardener will never give you the keys.
I agree, not deliberately at least. Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar, estoy aquí, señor Bondi.
طيب الحين مهمتنا ناخذ المفتاح منه.
There were the keys to the shed, hanging from the belt of the gardener. Asking him would be useless, given that they were covering up his little crime. The only solution was to try lifting them from him. There was an obstacle, though. The huge brim of his hat blocked my view. Maybe if I made him bend over... I wondered if I might... Hello, good man.
Yes?
Let's talk about vintage wine.
Vintage wine? Never seen, never heard, and in fact, I'm a teetotaler.
Such a guilty conscience. Lupe was right. I would never get him to talk. Never mind. The keys were my target. Stick around. Those keys would give me access to the vintage wine I needed. The problem was the gardener's giant hat that partly covered the keys, preventing me from discreetly pulling them off his belt. Maybe if I pushed the gardener over. If only I could make him... That shorty with the hook was doing... Hello, good man.
Yes?
Stick around. I wondered if I might need them to make the gardener bend over.
أو إني أحرقهم. وين كانوا؟ ولا.
Doing that, I wouldn't have made the gardener bend down, just run away like hell. I wouldn't light the emergency. Doing that, it was a long and robust tape. When I was a... I was all out of ideas. Maybe. Or maybe not. The pull of the magnet wasn't strong enough to remove the keys from the gardener. I still figured I had to make him bend over to steal them. I wondered if I might need them to make... They contain grain and animal feed. I was fond of that. In that moment, it didn't seem to be a good... Did that bomb bottle really contain... Well, at the very least, that month... Was it really worth it? A harsh-looking hen. Apparently, it was... I locked it in the hen house with great pleasure. A chicken house. In this case, there... I was all out of ideas. A chicken house. In this case... I thought it was better to look for another solution. I thought it was better to look for another solution. I thought it was better to look for another solution. Sometimes... In that moment, it didn't seem to be a good solution to me. Yes. Was it really worth it? I wondered if I'm... If only I could make him bend over, I could steal the keys. Those keys would give me access to the vintage one. Problem was the gardener's giant hat that partly covered the... Maybe if I... That shorty with the hook was doing a good job. That shorty with the hook... A chicken house. In this case, there was just one hen, but very fierce. A chicken house. In this case... A harsh-looking hen. I locked it in the hen house with... In that moment... A chicken house. In this case... The sight could have fooled me, but surely not the smell. That was rosemary. The sight could have fooled... I thought it was better to look... A harsh-looking hen. Apparently, it was a... I locked it in the hen... I've had enough of his government conspiracies. I had nothing else to say. Putting it in my pocket was out of the... if needed. A real Play Guy enthusiast. Wait a second. I replaced Play Guy with... well, he seemed happy with the substitution. I'll never forget the grim eye. He was getting down. Hey there, kid.
What do you want?
Smell you later. Hello.
Hi, Lars.
I need a quick search.
Of course. Do you need information on Eric Molsberg? Or maybe his daughter?
Nah, much better than that. I need to know what Florida ginger looks like to prepare some meatballs.
Your investigative methods are even more bizarre than I thought.
I never back down from even the most absurd challenge.
Give me a second. Here you are. You should look for a little plant with wide leaves and red flowers. They look like small artichokes if you examine them closely.
Mm-hmm. Little plant, red leaves shaped like artichokes. Got it.
If you want to obtain its spice, you'll have to gently extract the root.
Excellent. You just saved me half a day of investigation. We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
My colleague. I'd already rated everything. I was sure I would find only bills and late payment warnings. Sometimes it's better not... Despite having customized... I had tried many times to recover that piece of Parmesan, to no avail. First of all, it was too high. Secondly, the collapse of the floor beneath made it impossible to approach anything to climb on. The Parmesan had been dangling from the ceiling for years, and by now, it had reached a very strong seasoning. Sometimes, my obsession... The Parmesan had been dangling from... No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that. The Parmesan had been dangling from the ceiling... Better think about it. I thought it was better to look for another solution. I was all out of ideas. Sometimes, my obsession... Was it really worth... I was all out of ideas. In that moment, it didn't seem to be a good... I didn't Was it really? I thought it was better. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good... I didn't under... I thought it was better to look for another solution. The Parmesan had been dangling from the... For months, I kept asking and asking Miss Joyce to repair that hole. Sooner or later, I would fall through it again. For months, I kept asking. Sooner or later... By that time, they were all using those instant mess... Obviously, the fridge was empty. Obviously, the fridge... With blood and sweat, I had completed that collection of action figures when I was... After Green Dark, it was my biggest... Bobby was down there for a reason. To protect me from nightmares. I'd remove it only in case of extreme need. Bobby the Bear, protector of my... Night lead... Bobby the Bear, protector of my dreams. Bobby was down there. I'd remove it only in... It represented the Sacred Heart of Jesus. My grandma says... I didn't want anything from the trouble. I didn't want anything from the bar. I barely drink. Before joining the detective, how many friends? The Parmesan had been dangling from the ceiling for years, and by now, it had reached a very strong seasoning. Was it really worth it? The Parmesan had been dangling from... Was it really worth it? I was all out of ideas. No trace of the events. I would always... I preferred not to find out what... Once I found the ingredients, it would become my culinary kingdom. Above the shelf, I could see a grater, an empty bottle turned on its side, and some heaps of garlic. Establishing how... About the ingredients I have to find.
Why do I pay you if I have to do your job for you?
That's not a problem since you don't pay me at all, cheapskate.
Dwarf,
Tightwad,
insect,
skinflint,
dachshund,
piker.
garden gnome.
I've run out of synonyms.
I can go all day long, shrimp.
I'll go back to...
This mayonnaise.
The only recipe I was interested in was already in my pot. I never liked staining walls. 2 spray cans. I preferred not to find out. It seemed like a vending machine for chewing gum, but actually it contained... nothing. Still no trace of that phantom homeless guy, Roger. Judging by the description I had, that surely had to be the Florida ginger. Delicately, I extracted the root. By grating it, I'd be able to obtain the spice I needed. The wine had to be strictly Parmesan, a cheese of Italian origin. Before moving to America, I ate it by the ton. Parmesan, a cheese of before moving to America. The chef wanted some exotic-tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? That I go to the Everglades and face an alligator with my bare hands? The palm was marked with a red symbol on its trunk. I wonder what that meant. I had nothing else to ask him. Mike was in better shape. I'd already taken all the typical seaside place, where exotic cocktails. A good way to enjoy sunny days on the beach. Not as good as Green Dart. A small yacht was docked, and on its side were the words, Blue Mermaid. The cart contained many products. I didn't need that stool in. An old-style phone. I didn't know much about. Maybe. I'll never forget the grim eyes of that head. Was it really worth it? Did that bomb bottle really... Well, at the very... In case one of my shoelaces broke, I'd have a good replacement. I thought it was better to look for another solution. I didn't understand. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't see a good reason to do that. In that moment, I thought it was better to look for another solution. No matter how hard, I didn't Maybe. Sometimes, I didn't No matter how hard. I thought it was better to look for another solution. Better think about it. Was it really worth it? No matter how hard I tried. In that moment, sometimes, I thought it was better. I was all out of ideas. Maybe. Better think about it. I thought it was better. I was all out of... Was it really... I thought it was better. No matter how hard I tried. No matter how hard I... The cook demanded... Sometimes, buzzing, threatening, potentially... Buzzing, threatening, potentially... It was impossible to open the lock with my... A big lock kept the door barred. The door was locked, but I didn't mind. I could go inside by the main entrance. It had to be the servants' entrance. The door was locked, but... Another one of the gardener's creations. That flamingo was really well done. Another one of the gardener's creations. That flamingo was... An ingenious magnetic fishing rod. In that moment, I didn't understand how that could possibly help me. I didn't understand. Was it really worth it? I didn't understand. Was it really worth it? One of the two keys opened Green Dart's lock. The other was still a mystery, but it seemed ancient. Hello, good man.
Yes?
Stick around. Those keys would give me access to the vintage wine. The problem was the gardener. Maybe if I put... Maybe. Or... Was it really worth... A chicken house. In this case, there were... It was a long and robust tape measure. When I was a kid, I used one of those to flick the light switch without being seen, making my father panic. By rotating the gear on the upper part of the wrench, it was possible to adjust it. This made it useful for anything that could be unscrewed. With Ramos, it had proven to be a good plan, so why not?
نفس الحركة.
Huh? What's happening to my pile of leaves?
Now that the gardener was bent over, I could clearly see the shed key. People should really add velvet fingers to my list of nicknames. Hey, you know what? I guess I lost my phone in that pile of leaves.
You freaked me out with that damn vibration. I thought it was a mole attack.
Hey, not bad at all. Toilet in the same room as the bed? Interesting idea. And there was the reason for my raid. That rope might have been useful if it wasn't rotten from its first to last fiber. Various gardening and maintenance. Pebbles and dust, nothing more. The toilet seat was up. That was enough to know that no woman had been there for months. The boxes were stacked in no particular order. I didn't want to rummage through that man's fridge. Who knows what kind of crap I'll find inside? A mini fridge, like the kind that you find in hotels. That shed was a wonder. I didn't want to rummage through that man's fridge. Who knows what kind of crap I'll find inside? Grope a statue made of grass? Why not? It was whatever its inspiration was, it was well done. That glow stick was too appealing to leave it where it was. Fortunately, it was retractable, so I managed to put it in my coat. It was one of those extendable clothes sticks, very practical for those who, like me, wore long coats even during the summer. A chain can always come in handy for something. Sometimes, I didn't understand. Flea-bitten, creased, beaten up, old, smelly. The only adjective that didn't apply there was inviting. Flea-bitten, creased, the only adjective. That rope might have been used. Various gardening. I'd have picked up the sprayer if it didn't. I don't know why, but I've always had a passion for various gardening and maintenance tools. The shears were inviting, but I would have felt like, nah, who am I kidding? I didn't steal them only because they were all rusty. Various gardening and maintenance tools. The shears were inviting, but I would have, nah, who am I kidding? I was all out of ideas. I didn't understand. Being very careful, I believed I would be able to grab that piece of Parmesan.
طيب بقت حاجة واحدة.
The chef wanted some exotic tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? That I go to the Everglades and face an alligator with my bare hands? Hello.
Hi, Lars.
We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
Canned beans. Seriously. Hey there, kid.
What are you...
Smell you later. I preferred not to find out what other... No trace of the events I would always remember. I'll go back to...
This mayonnaise.
Fresh heart in exchange for some... Once I found the ingredients, the chef wanted some exotic-tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? That I go to the Everglades and face an alligator with my bare hands? Establishing how... Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar...
Hello, good man.
Yes?
Stick around. A small yacht. On its side were the words Blue Mermaid. A bit trite for a name. Nothing. Still no trace of that phantom homeless guy, Roger. For months I kept asking, and sooner or later, for months I kept asking, sooner... I had nothing to hang at the moment, and there was nothing interesting among the items already posted.
وأكلم أمه يمكن أمه يعني عندها خبرة.
I wondered what my mother was doing at that precise moment. It had been years since we last spoke. Anyway, I had other things to worry about. Just having to talk to him in person from time to time was enough. Besides, I no longer needed to call... I didn't need to call Alice Redding. I had nothing else to say. Putting it in my pocket was out of the... if needed. A real play guy enthusiast. Wait a second. Well, he seemed happy with the substitution. A real play guy enthusiast. Wait a second. I replaced play guy with, well, he seemed happy with the substitution. He was getting... The fountain wasn't especially elaborate. It emitted a dip. My badge now. The weird case is real mystery. The notes on the bulletin board were most... Hello.
Hi, Lars.
We'll catch up later, Alex.
Keep me posted.
I wouldn't want a car. Not to mention that green tar with less... Bullets in Love. The box office smash hit movie. The classic predictable thriller where at the end the... The room as a whole reflected the shy personality. It exuded repressed fury. With a mirror like that, I had to get one. With a mirror like that, I had to get one. Notes. The jewelry box contained... Strange. Strange. The chef wanted some exotic-tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? That I go to the Everglades and face an alligator with my bare hands? The chef wanted some exotic-tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? No more pecks that day. Only a huge quantity of trash from... Buzzing, threatening, potentially lethal. Better stay away from it. Here, Bridget. Come here, sweetie. Something in the look of that dog told me it didn't want... The dog bowl displayed the name. It was clear. At least they didn't force you to wear a polka dot skirt, my friend. Pebbles and dust, nothing more. Pebbles and dust. I didn't want to rummage through that man's... A nice way to air out the room on hotter days. A nice way to... The shears were inviting, but I would have felt like a worm depriving the gardener of his best tool. Nah, who am I kidding? I didn't steal them only because they were all rusty. That rope might have been useful if it wasn't rotten from its first to last fiber. I'd have picked up the sprayer if it didn't contain a strange and probably toxic greenish liquid. I don't know why, but I've always had a passion for vaporizers. Various gardening and maintenance tools. I'd have picked up the sprayer if it didn't contain a strange and probably toxic greenish liquid. I don't know why. No trace of the events I would always remember as the night of the challenge. Above the shelf, I could see a grater, an empty bottle turned on its side, and some heaps of garlic. I'll go back to
This mayonnaise.
Chef Tony, my new employee. Once I found the ingredient, fresh heart in exchange for some meatballs. Fresh heart in exchange for some meatballs. What a friggin' deal. The meaning of that little note, along with the identity of the one who delivered it to me, remained a mystery. It seemed like I never liked. There's absolutely no.
Lo siento, señor.
If I wanted to obtain, I had to find out, and I had already child's play. All things considered, there's absolutely no.
Lo siento, señor.
If I wanted to obtain access to that room, I'd have to scare that woman away. I knew a plausible motto decreed by one of the Molesberg ancestors. I had to find a bloody heart to make the prank more believable, and I had already found a way to put the prank into practice. I climbed from the window into Catherine's room. Child's play, all things considered. Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar, estoy aquí, señor Bundy.
The cart contained many products for house. When I was a kid, I always dreamed of. Who am I kidding? Count Manuel, but his line of success. It seemed authentic. I've always suffered from a strange phobia. Strangers. Even the water closet was high class. Among the many books, I noticed one about botany. If I looked more close, among the many books, and if I looked more close.
اوف والله تعبنا. جراوند بيف نو سوبر ماركت.
The chef wanted some exotic tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect? That I go to the Everglades and face an alligator with my bare hands? Hello, good man. Stick around. He looked like a cross between a Dutch farmer and that famous. In spite of all that, he was really good.
أو يمكن شيء عندي هنا.
Tin, empty. I thought it was better to look for another solution. I didn't understand how that could. The door was locked, but I didn't mind. I could go inside by the main entrance. It had to be the servant. Another one of the gardener's. That flamingo was really well done. Another one of the gardener's creation. That flamingo. Another one of the gardener's. That flamingo. Better. Grope a stat. Why not? Grope a. Why not? It was well, whatever its inspiration was, it was well done. The toilet seat was up. I didn't want to rummage through that man's fridge. Who knows what kind of crap I'll find inside? Any fridge. Here, Bridget, come here. Something in the look. The cook demanded exotic meat with a taste never tried before. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that one satisfied both requirements. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands, though.
واو هذا هو الميت بس ما يقدر يشيله بإيده.
I didn't understand. The cook demanded exotic meat with a taste never tried before. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that one satisfied both requirements. The cook demanded exotic meat with a taste never. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands, though. The cook demanded.
Okay.
Sometimes, my obsession. The cook demanded exotic.
جالس أدوره.
I had collected all the necessary ingredients for my brief excursion into the culinary world. Now, I could start the actual preparation. My sous chef table was waiting for me. Let's do that. And now, salt and pepper. Now, I just have to follow the recipe step by step. First of all, the meat had to be minced. Better think about it. I'd be starting my culinary career by mincing meat for dogs. I put the meat back in the can, ready to be used. I must admit that it emitted an inviting aroma. The meat was ready to be prepared. The grater was ideal for, well, grating. Let's start with seasoning. I hope to crack open the egg without breaking it. I've always been really bad in the kitchen. At that point, I turned the griddle on to start cooking. I'd extract the spice from the root using that grater. And now, the final touch. Finally, after a half day of unpaid hard work, our incredible Chef Lazarus had completed his little culinary masterpiece. Now that I think about it, it still seems crazy to interrupt an investigation just to make some meatballs. But part of the reason I'm famous is because I never back down from a challenge. Yeah, not bad for a beginner. Here's your meatball, Chef.
I'd give it up whole, damn. And you took only half the day to prepare them. Maybe I underestimated you, lightweight. Let's see what you did. Hell, it's formidable. I meant passable, that is.
I told you there was a real cook hiding deep inside me. I just had to spread my wings and fly. Can I take a heart now?
Suit yourself. I'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight. And be on time.
Like a Swiss watch. I had finished him there, and I'd probably never touch another stove again in my life. Just a minute. Lazarus Bundy!
What the?
Now I could finally leave. Hello.
Hi, Lars.
We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
With what I had with me, I was sure I could scare Lupe to death. I held my breath.
وقت الجريمة.
Don't look down, Lars. Don't look down. First, I needed to warm her up a bit with words. It was time to terrorize that poor woman beyond all limits.
My God, who's there?
You know who I am, woman.
Archbishop Molina?
As God be my witness, verily it is me. My imitation of medieval language is pitiful, but I never bothered taking a course.
But por qué you have come to me?
Thy beauty beckoned me back to this vivid land, and to its call I shan't resist.
But you are a ghost and yo soy alive.
Ooh, we can easily remedy that, can't we? She was totally spooked. If the words had opened a crack, the bloody heart would kick the door down.
نجحت الخطة.
The woman took off like a race car at the green light. Well, at that point, I had to find something. I had to find it fast before she could call for help.
اوكي، راح اوقف هنا ان شاء الله واكمل المرة الجاية. اتمنى هذا الفيديو عجبكم، نشوفكم على خير وفي امان الله.